Welcome to Behind the Scenes at ID8 Studios. I'm Steve Sue. This is Crystal Baki. This is the place where we teach the art of producing art. Our guest today is Rebecca Teresia. Welcome, Rebecca. She is a filmmaker extraordinaire, actor, stunt woman, athlete, everything you can imagine under the sun in our space. And she's going to tell us a little bit about how to get a film into a film festival. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I think especially for first-time filmmakers, the whole idea of like, oh my gosh, how do I even approach this new space can be very intimidating. And I think there's different strategies for different filmmakers. And I learned the hard way with my movie.
Let's take an example. What was the first movie you applied to a film festival?
So before, I'd made a lot of short films and we submitted those. But my first feature film, we were really excited and we submitted it to the A-list festivals when it was not ready. And then the pandemic happened and there was a lot of things that happened. And so we kind of burned our A-list festivals for the most part.
What do you mean burned?
So you cannot submit your movie multiple times, especially like the competitive festivals. So we submitted to like Sundance and Tribeca and all these major ones with a product that wasn't ready. I mean, they say that you can submit an unfinished product, but I strongly would
discourage
that. Yes.
Okay.
Because you only have one time to impress someone. And especially if you don't have major names or major talent or anyone attached, it's even more important. Because like, you never know who's going to watch it. And if there's many mistakes at the beginning, they won't watch your movie. And then that's it.
So when you apply to festivals, do you do them in waves? Like you say, you take the ones that best match your product first and then go to the next set? Or how do you do this?
Yeah, so basically, you kind of go over the festival calendar. It's annual. So different festivals are at different times of the year.
And there's rolling entries, right, all through the year?
Yes. If you have a product that you know is very of quality and you know you can sell it and distribute it, it's even more vital to make sure that you even take an extra year to like fine tune it and do all the different audio corrections, sound design, final color correction, get notes from your friends, do private screenings, get notes, so that when you're ready to submit to like the major festivals, you know the package is tight. And at the same time, you might want to start doing some PR and like getting some articles about you, like creating a buzz so that these festivals will then kind of take note. So for Junho, because of the pandemic, we were kind of given extra
Junho's
year.
Your movie, right?
Yes. It's a Korean movie based on a true story set in Korea and San Francisco. And it's now been winning awards all over the place. And,
wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
I'm very excited to get it sold and distributed in the near-time future.
And what festivals did it get into?
It did get into HIF. It got into Orlando.
HIF is the Hawaii International Film Festival.
The Orlando Film Festival, which is a major festival.
You won a crap ton of awards there, right?
Yes. Yes.
So how does that even work when you go to a festival? Did they pick awards for you, or you have to check boxes that I want to be eligible for certain types of awards?
So the festival kind of does that. So once you've submitted your movie and you're getting accepted, the jury will review your movie, and then the festival will kind of submit you for
nominate you.
Nominate. That's the word. Yes, nominate. And I would say us being present there also was helpful because the festival organizers got to know us, got to know who we are as filmmakers. And I think that had a huge impact, especially on the audience award, because we were promoting the film. We had few screenings that whole week. So the next screening was quite packed because we were talking to different filmmakers and we're like, hey, come watch our movie.
So do you like promote it in the public? Because obviously some of the public people come and see for audience award.
So these are the things that I learned as I went. If I had done it again, I would have a month before or even earlier had like PR reached out to the TV station, said like our team is actually physically going to be there. We're coming in, like we're flying in the main actor who's pretty well known in Korea to Florida or Orlando, and that if you have any interviews, reaching out to like the Korean communities in that space, reaching out to different organizations and kind of getting them aware that this is happening so that they can also do the promotion on our behalf. And maybe some TV stations, radio stations, even in Hawaii, I would have promoted it like, okay, a Hawaii filmmaker is going to Florida to promote a Asian movie. So those are the things that I kind of learned as I went. Like, oh man, I should have done that.
What about parties? Because I hear there's like big parties, right?
Yes, we didn't have the budget or the funding to do that. But if you have,
Could you like do a potluck? Do it Hawaii style.
that could be funny. That could be something
Yeah, right?
new and different.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of goes to the product sponsorships. So if now I would have done it,
Yeah.
reached out to different product sponsors. And
Soju
Soju
tasting.
had them like sponsor our screenings at least. Like
I
in
would go for that.
Yeah.
And then
I
like
would
we
too.
could have offered like little coupons for all the guys who come watch my movie to get discounts on soju. And soju, especially in the mainland, is not as known. So I think
Yeah.
more people would have been interested
Exotic
in just because
Asian
of
spirits that you've never tasted before. Get crocked with us.
that. Yes, yeah. So where were we with this?
Parties.
Yeah, no, but
No, I
parties-
mean promoting before the festival starts.
But so like the main thing is to get into like the main festivals at first. And I recommend, so before you even submit anywhere, make sure that your film is really solid, that there's nothing you have to do with it. Then start kind of, at the same time, start reaching out to your fellow filmmakers, your connections who have gone to other festivals of like the higher caliber, and maybe seeing if they could introduce you even to the festival.
Smart.
If you can't do that, do your own research, find out who are the producers. You don't always find out that information, but at least you could start contacting them and giving them some information like, hey, we just submitted a really cool film. These are some articles that have already been written about the film. Because you can send private screeners to journalists to write a review on your film if you want to, and then that could be another.
And you have to go out and look for them to come to your show, to your screening, finding people like journalists to come.
Yes, you can do that. Or like even before submitting to a festival, you and your publicist team, you could like reach out to certain
Like
journalists
the Korean journalist in Orlando, because that's their vibe, right?
or just in
But
like
you'd
the
have to
Korean
reach out to
journalists.
them.
Yeah, you have to, and then they
Right.
could write a review like, oh my god, we just saw this new film that it's gonna be coming to festivals soon.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
be prepared. Or like that's kind of like this kind of fine-tuned balance. I think marketing and promoting is one thing that first-time independent filmmakers forget, because they're so exhausted after they finally have a picture cut, so they're like, oh.
Yeah, they've been in the editing bay for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And they have no tan and they have no people skills left. They're like, what party?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. No. But you know what? It's cool. It's like if you think about it, you're a really good promoter, I could tell. If you think about what all the other people want out of a film, because everybody wants to be associated with a great story. Mm-hmm. So you just have to find a way to include them. And again, if you go to the press in Orlando, then just find the press that is Korean based.
Or another value or theme that's in
Yeah.
topic of that movie that might be interesting for
Yeah.
them. I actually even reached out to some Finnish press because I'm from Finland.
Yep. That's smart.
And that was kind of cool. I got some outreach done in Finland as an up-and-coming filmmaker.
Yeah. It all counts on the internet now, especially with search engine optimization, right? Any amount of press is really good because it all aggregates to people finding you on the internet.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, so because we burned all our A-list festivals, which I learned from.
Yeah.
Actually, HIF was one of those festivals that I got in through asking friends for like, hey, who do you think I could talk to? Because this is a really, really good film. And I really believe that it could be an amazing fit for Hawaii. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
Korean-American movie.
It's in Korean too, right?
It is, yeah. So we did get into
Which is
HIF.
Is that really hard for a Finnish producer to produce a film that is in Korean?
I feel like I get that question a lot. I think I'm a little bit different because I moved to Hawaii when I was 17. I went to high school here. my peers were either Korean or Japanese or from different Asian countries, and it became my passion.
Cool.
And I studied international business with Asian economics.
Yeah.
So I do not really speak Korean, but I'm fascinated by the culture.
So you get the culture. It was not hard for you to
Yeah.
tell the story in that
And then
language.
like a lot of it is kind of mimicking with the main actor, and the director, obviously he speaks English and Korean.
Yeah.
Um,
So did all those guys go to the festival?
Only the main actor from Korea, the director, the DP, EP, and then the editor a few times came with us too, so that was really
Well,
cool.
that's a good entourage.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's a very diverse group of people because the editor is actually Chinese.
Okay.
And actually the editor didn't speak Korean either, so he edited it with other beats, and then that they did it together with the director.
So your crew is like, we call it beef stew here. Like in the US they call it melting pot, which we kind of don't really like the idea of melting pot, because that means you're all homogeneous, like you're pureed, and you're all one bar of, I guess, gold kind of melted together, but we're all different. We all are from different backgrounds, and so in your film it's great that you're able to highlight the talents and the cultures and just beef stew them all together. Yeah. So tasty.
Yeah, but that's actually something to think about too when you're doing your PR, is like, look at your main crew, like your editor, director, what are their interesting facets? And then also start reaching out to those organizations and see if they want to promote the film. So you'll be surprised how much.
Or you could brand them separately, because they're all somebodies, right?
Exactly,
This director
exactly.
has done X number of films and they have a following.
And I have this little soft spot to try promote like the editor a little bit more than traditionally, or the DP, because they don't traditionally get as much
The
promotion.
unsung heroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I think those are, I don't know, we need a huge team to make a movie, and I want to
yeah.
promote everyone.
Well, editor makes or breaks it, right? You can point a camera and shoot a lot of footage, but somehow it's got to be melded into a story. Yeah. My dad was a landscape architect.
Really?
And he told me one time, my job is to put bushes in front of buildings that don't look so good. So that's kind of like what an editor does in film. Like if we don't shoot a lot of good stuff, then they have to kind of fix it. So I'm really down with you celebrating all the artists that participate, because it's highly collaborative art form. And without every single person on point, you don't have a very good product.
Right. And then when you do get into a festival, if you don't have the funds to create a sponsor an event, definitely prepare yourself to it. Make sure you have your business cards or a QR code for your business cards. How many times I've seen filmmakers who are like, well, I don't have a business card. But if you don't have that, you can make a QR code in a few minutes, which then you can get connected, because the one main reason to go to a festival is to network.
Yeah.
So you want to have those in order. Also,
let me ask you, just diving into this business card thing, because it seemed to me like a business card is such an old school thing, but I know like there's a lot of business cards that have the QR codes on them now. Is that what you're suggesting, that you have that?
Or you can
type
have
of
it
a
on
thing?
your phone.
Okay.
So
or maybe both, just because.
I like to do both because so many don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And my business card, I have a QR code like to the movie and my own website, or like to get my information and then different photos. So it's something tangible, but also I have it on my phone so they can quickly get it into their phone. And one strategy that I've been doing, but I don't recommend to everyone, is I like to take a selfie with the person and like text it to them and then write a quick note on like what we talked about or where we met. Because
really
when
smart.
I later
That's
on
super
go
smart.
back to my hundreds of contacts, I remember the faces. I remember the conversation.
What about social? Do you try to get a connect with them on social media?
Yeah, that's another one. I would then send our selfie to their social media platform. It's just people look so different sometimes on their social media platforms than.
Is there an etiquette to
person.
that? Like, because some people don't want to be published, right?
Well, that's why I said kind of figure out if it works for you. I think I don't know, it depends on the way I sometimes make a joke out of it, or I was just like, hey, can we take a photo? I'll text it to you. I'm not going to post it anywhere, just so that we can keep in contact and remember each
Yeah.
other. Most people are like, oh, yeah. So that's
right.
my little tip that might work and might not. So I don't know, do it with your own discretion.
That's smart.
You ready to go to festival, Crystal?
Yes,
Let's
I
do
am
it.
ready.
Yeah, and make sure you also have a project or a few projects that you're thought out, so that if people ask you like, what's next, you have something to answer.
Oh, you mean your next project?
Mm-hmm.
That's smart. Yeah, so you're ready to upsell to the next deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think we know now a little bit how to get into festival, at least not to entirely muck it up. So, Rebecca, thank you
Do
for
your
joining
research.
us. Yeah, do your research, and call people, and be smart about it. But thank you for joining us for this episode. Where can these guys find you?
My website, RebeccaTeresia.com, or LinkedIn, Rebecca Teresia, or my Instagram, Rebecca Teresia. Pretty much, if you Google my name, you'll find me.
Yay, find her. She's a star. And for more on ID8 shows like this, please find us at id8studios.org or on social at id8.studios. Thanks for joining.